Phil,
Steve.
back in the day, how would you get into this blockhouse?
Well,
Because there's no obvious entry today.
no, you can't see an entrance. There's two windows in the front for the lookouts. The entrance is below ground. This wasn't here in the 1640s. The rock face came right down, and then you'd have to cross a rocky ground here, some of this foreshore here, and there's an entrance, an arched entrance below here, this space here.
I think we can just see a little hint of that arch
Yeah.
there.
Nothing else.
So
It's all been bricked up.
this blockhouse stood directly on the rocks.
Yes.
And there was a gap between the blockhouse
And the rock face
and the rock face
that came down here.
that came down here.
Yes.
And of course, these steps that we've got here today were not here.
Nothing. It was on its own. It was a tower on its own.
So it really stood out on its rock place,
Yes.
didn't it? On its own. Absolutely.
Yeah, there was about a small detachment of maybe a couple of men in there, lookouts.
So how many people would have been in there, do you think? Do you say?
Not more than five or six, unless there was a threat. These blockhouses were well sited. If you look at the map, this is the Devil's Point blockhouse. This is Stonehouse Creek. Across the water, Mount Edgecombe blockhouse, which is below the foreshore now. That was built up in Victorian times. At the time of the Civil War, they could probably see each other. All the trees and that were cleared. So if an enemy ship tried to come along between these two blockhouses, they could fire on it.
And that, of course, is just across from here.
Yeah, further to the right, behind all those trees.
But we mustn't confuse it with the 1860s fortification.
No.
It's on the right of the Red
I think-
Boy. No, it's on the left of the Red
Left.
Boy.
Yes.
It's on the left of
Yeah,
the Red
behind
Boy,
those
isn't it?
trees.
Behind the trees, yes.
Yeah. And you can still see that blockhouse today. And that is a good example. You can actually go inside that one and gives you a good example of what they look like. Everyone was slightly different. There was no set pattern. They used what was available, obviously the limestone and the granite. These blocked also access into Stonehouse, like I said before. But they were rarely used in the Civil War. They might have been used as lookout posts because most of the fighting, all the fighting was done inland. There is no record of sea battles going on in and around Plymouth.
So this fortification controlled Stonehouse Creek, didn't it?
The entrance, yeah, towards Stonehouse Creek. And the lookout over there on Thomas Wise's house, like I said, that would have been a good vantage point to see, because like with the blockhouses now on opposite sides of the Civil War. The blockhouse here was parliamentarian, Mount Edgecombe was royalist.
And of course, the interesting thing is, this blockhouse would have looked out on any ships going past,
Yes.
just as today it's looking out on this superb vessel that's going past here today.
Yeah.
Nothing's changed, has
No.
it, Phil? And what a superb vessel that is, my golly. Isn't that beautiful? Look at that. And of course, back in the day, this place was very isolated, wasn't it?
It was separated from Plymouth. It was Stonehouse was on its own over there. This was on its own down here. But the next blockhouse is 5 minutes walk away around Firestone Bay.
Which is just basically along this road.
Yeah.
And that is now the Artillery Tower
Restaurant.
isn't it?
Yes.
So we'll progress on to the next location.
Yes.
Phil. Once again, Phil, thank you very much.
Thank you, Steve.